Vault 7. CIA hacking tools revealed. Press release. Today, Tuesday, March 7, 2017, Wikileaks begins its new series of leaks on the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency. Codenamed Vault 7 by Wikileaks, it is the largest ever publication of confidential documents on the agency. The first full part of the series, Year Zero, comprises 8,761 documents and files from an isolated, high-security network situated inside the CIA's Center for Cyber Intelligence in Langley, Virginia. It follows an introductory disclosure last month of CIA targeting French political parties and candidates in the lead-up to the 2012 presidential election. Recently, the CIA lost control of the majority of its hacking arsenal, including malware, viruses, trojans, weaponized zero-day exploits, malware remote control systems and associated documentation. This extraordinary collection, which amounts to more than several hundred million lines of code, gives its processor the entire hacking capacity of the CIA. The archive appears to have been circulated among former U.S. government hackers and contractors in an unauthorized manner, one of whom has provided Wikileaks with portions of the archive. Year Zero introduces the scope and direction of the CIA's global covert hacking program, its malware arsenal and dozens of zero-day, weaponized exploits against a wide range of U.S. and European company products, include Apple's iPhone, Google's Android and Microsoft Windows and even Samsung TVs, which are turned into covert microphones. Since 2001, the CIA has gained political and budgetary preeminence over the U.S. National Security Agency. The CIA found itself building not just its now infamous drone fleet, but a very different type of covert, globe-spanning force, its own substantial fleet of hackers. The agency hacking division freed it from having to disclose its often controversial operations to the NSA, its primary bureaucratic rival, in order to draw on the NSA's hacking capacities. By the end of 2016, the CIA's hacking division, which formally falls under the Agency Center for Cyber Intelligence, had over 5,000 registered users and had produced more than 1,000 hacking systems, trojans, viruses, and other weaponized malware. Such is the scale of the CIA's undertaking that by 2016, its hackers had utilized more code that it used to run Facebook. The CIA had created, in effect, its own NSA, with even less accountability and without publicly answering the question as to whether such massive budgetary spend on duplicating the capacities of a rival agency could be justified. In a statement to Wikileaks, the source details policy questions that they say urgently need to be debated in public, including whether the CIA's hacking capabilities exceed its mandated powers and the problem of public oversight of the agency. The source wishes to initiate a public debate about the security, creation, use, proliferation and democratic control of cyber weapons. Once a single cyber weapon is loose, it can spread around the world in seconds, to be used by rival states, cyber mafia and teenage hackers alike. Julian Assange, Wikileaks editor, stated that there is an extreme proliferation risk in the development of cyber weapons. Comparisons can be drawn between the uncontrolled proliferation of such weapons, which results from the inability to contain them combined with their high market value, and the global arms trade. But the significance of Year Zero goes well beyond the choice between cyberwar and cyber peace. The disclosure is also exceptional from a political, legal and forensic perspective. Wikileaks has carefully reviewed the Year Zero disclosure and published substantive CIA documentation while avoiding the distribution of armed cyber weapons until a consensus emerges on the technical and political nature of the CIA's program and how such weapons should be analyzed, disarmed and published. Wikileaks has also decided to redact and anonymize some identifying information in Year Zero for in-depth analysis. These redactions include 10 of thousands of CIA targets and attack machines throughout Latin America, Europe and the United States. While we are aware of the imperfect results of any approach chosen, We remain committed to our publishing model and note that the quantity of published pages in Vault 7, Part 1, Year 0, already eclipses the total number of pages published over the first 3 years of the Edward Snowden NSA leaks. Analysis. CIA malware target iPhone, Android, smart TVs. CIA malware and hacking tools are built by EDG. Engineering Development Group, a software development group within CCI, Center for Cyber Intelligence, a department belonging to the CIA's DDI, Directorate for Digital Innovation. The DDI is one of the 5 major directorates of the CIA. See this organizational chart of the CIA for more details. The EDG is responsible for the development, testing and operational support of all backdoors, exploits, malicious payloads, trojans and any other kind of malware used by the CIA in its covert operations worldwide. The increasing sophistication of surveillance techniques has drawn comparisons with George Orwell's 1984. But Weeping Angel, developed by the CIA's Embedded Devices Branch, EDB, which infests smart TVs, transforming them into covert microphones, is surely its most emblematic realization. The attack against Samsung smart TVs was developed in cooperation with the United Kingdom's MI5 BTSS. After infestation, Weeping Angel places the target TV in a fake-off mode, so that the owner falsely believes the TV is off when it is on. In fake-off mode, the TV operates as a bug, recording conversations in the room and sending them over the internet to her covert CIA server. As of October 2014, the CIA was also looking at infecting the vehicle control systems used by modern cars and trucks. The purpose of such control is not specified, but it would permit the CIA to engage in nearly undetectable assassinations. The CIA's Mobile Devices Branch, MDB, developed numerous attacks to remotely hack and control popular smartphones. Infected phones can be instructed to send the CIA the user's geolocation, audio and text communications, as well as covertly activate the phone's camera and microphone. Despite iPhone's minority share, 14.5%, of the global smartphone market in 2016, a specialized unit in the CIA's Mobile Development Branch produces malware to infest, control and exfiltrate data from iPhones and other Apple products running iOS, such as iPads. CIA's arsenal includes numerous local and remote, 0 days, developed by CIA or obtained from GCHQ, NSA, FBI, purchased from cyberarms contractors such as BaitShop. The disproportionate focus on iOS may be explained by the popularity of the iPhone among social, political, diplomatic, and business elites. A similar unit targets Google's Android, which is used to run the majority of the world's smartphones, approximately 85%, including Samsung, HTC and Sony. 1.15 billion Android-powered phones were sold last year. Year 0 shows that as of 2016 the CIA had 24 weaponized Android 0 days, which it has developed itself and obtained from GCHQ, NSA and cyberarms contractors. These techniques permit the CIA to bypass the encryption of WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, Weibo, Confide and Cloakman by hacking the smartphones that they run on and collecting audio and message traffic before encryption is applied. CIA malware targets Windows, OS X, Linux, routers. The CIA also runs a very substantial effort to infect and control Microsoft Windows users with its malware. This includes multiple local and remote weaponized 0 days, air-gap jumping viruses such as Hammer Drill, which infects software distributed on CD, DVDs. Infectors for removable media such as USBs, systems to hide data and images or in covert disk areas, Brutal Kangaroo, and to keep its malware infestations going. Many of these infection efforts are pulled together by the CIA's Automated Implant Branch, AIB, which has developed several attack systems for automated infestation and control of CIA malware, such as Assassin and Medusa. Attacks against Internet infrastructure and web servers are developed by the CIA's Network Devices Branch, NDB. The CIA has developed automated multi-platform malware attack and control systems covering Windows, Mac OS X, Solaris, Linux and more, such as EDBs, Hive, and the related cutthroat and swindle tools, which are described in the examples section below. CIA hoarded vulnerabilities 0 days. In the wake of Edward Snowden's leaks about the NSA, the U.S. technology industry secured a commitment from the Obama administration that the executive would disclose on an ongoing basis, rather than hoard, serious vulnerabilities, exploits, bugs or 0 days, to Apple, Google, Microsoft, and other US-based manufacturers. Serious vulnerabilities not disclosed to the manufacturers places huge swathes of the population and critical infrastructure at risk to foreign intelligence or cyber criminals who independently discover or hear rumors of the vulnerability. If the CIA can discover such vulnerabilities, so can others. The U.S. government's commitment to the vulnerabilities equities process came after significant lobbying by U.S. technology companies, who risk losing their share of the global market over real and perceived hidden vulnerabilities. The government stated that it would disclose all pervasive vulnerabilities discovered after 2010 on an ongoing basis. Year Zero documents show that the CIA breached the Obama administration's commitments. Many of the vulnerabilities used in the CIA's cyber arsenal are pervasive, and some may already have been found by rival intelligence agencies or cybercriminals. As an example, specific CIA malware revealed in Year Zero is able to penetrate, infest and control both the Android phone and iPhone software that runs or has run presidential Twitter accounts. The CIA attacks this software by using undisclosed security vulnerabilities. 0 days, possessed by the CIA, but if the CIA can hack these phones, then so can everyone else who has obtained or discovered the vulnerability. As long as the CIA keeps these vulnerabilities concealed from Apple and Google, who make the phones, they will not be fixed, and the phones will remain hackable. The same vulnerabilities exist for the population at large, including the U.S. Cabinet, Congress, top CEOs, system administrators, security officers and engineers. By hiding these security flaws from manufacturers like Apple and Google, the CIA ensures that it can hack everyone in MDSH, at the expense of leaving everyone hackable. Cyberwar programs are a serious proliferation risk. Cyber weapons are not possible to keep under effective control. While nuclear proliferation has been restrained by the enormous cost and visible infrastructure involved in assembling enough fissile material to produce a critical nuclear mass, cyber weapons, once developed, are very hard to retain. Cyber weapons are in fact just computer programs which can be pirated like any other. Since they are entirely comprised of information, they can be copied quickly with no marginal cost. Securing such weapons is particularly difficult since the same people who develop and use them have the skills to exfiltrate copies without leaving traces, sometimes by using the very same weapons against the organizations that contain them. There are substantial price incentives for government hackers and consultants to obtain copies, since there is a global vulnerability market that will pay hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars for copies of such weapons. Similarly, contractors and companies who obtain such weapons sometimes use them for their own purposes, obtaining advantage over their competitors in selling hacking services. Over the last 3 years, the United States intelligence sector, which consists of government agencies such as the CIA and NSA and their contractors, such as Booz Allen Hamilton, has been subject to unprecedented series of data exfiltrations by its own workers. A number of intelligence community members not yet publicly named have been arrested as subject to federal criminal investigations in separate incidents. Most visibly, on February 8, 2017, a U.S. federal grand jury indicted Harold T. Martin III with 20 counts of mishandling classified information. The Department of Justice alleged that it seized some 50,000 gigabytes of information from Harold T. Martin III that he had obtained from classified programs at NSA and CIA, including the source code for numerous hacking tools. Once a single cyber weapon is loose, it can spread around the world in seconds, to be used by peer states, cyber mafia and teenage hackers alike. U.S. Consulate in Frankfurt is a covert CIA hacker base. In addition to its operations in Langley, Virginia, the CIA also uses the U.S. Consulate in Frankfurt as a covert base for its hackers covering Europe, the Middle East and Africa. CIA hackers operating out of the Frankfurt Consulate, Center for Cyber Intelligence Europe, or CCIE, are given diplomatic, black passports and State Department cover. The instructions for incoming CIA hackers make Germany's counterintelligence efforts appear inconsequential. Breeze through German customs because you have your cover for action story down pat, and all they did was stamp your passport. Your cover story for this trip. Q. Why are you here? A. Supporting technical consultations at the consulate. 2 earlier Wikileaks publications give further detail on CIA approaches to customs and secondary screening procedures. Once in Frankfurt, CIA hackers can travel without further border checks to the 25 European countries that are part of the Schengen open border area, including France, Italy and Switzerland. A number of the CIA's electronic attack methods are designed for physical proximity. These attack methods are able to penetrate high-security networks that are disconnected from the Internet, such as police record database. In these cases, a CIA officer, agent or allied intelligence officer acting under instructions, physically infiltrates the targeted workplace. The attacker is provided with a USB containing malware developed for the CIA for this purpose, which is inserted into the targeted computer. The attacker then infects and exfiltrates data to removable media. For example, the CIA attack system Fine Dining provides 24 decoy applications for CIA spies to use. To witnesses, the spy appears to be running a program showing videos, e.g. VLC, presenting slides, Prezi, playing a computer game, Breakout 2, 2048, or even running a fake virus scanner, Kaspersky, McAfee, Sophos. But while the decoy application is on the screen, the underlying system is automatically infected and ransacked. How the CIA dramatically increased proliferation risks. In what is surely one of the most astounding intelligence own goals in living memory. The CIA structured its classification regime such that for the most market-valuable part of Vault 7, the CIA's weaponized malware, implants plus 0 days, listening posts, LP, and command and control, C2, systems, the agency has little legal recourse. The CIA made these systems unclassified. Why the CIA chose to make its cyber arsenal unclassified reveals how concepts developed for military use do not easily cross over to the battlefield of cyber war. To attack its targets, the CIA usually requires that its implants communicate with their control programs over the Internet. If CIA implants, command and control and listening post software were classified, then CIA officers could be prosecuted or dismissed for violating rules that prohibit placing classified information onto the Internet. Consequently, the CIA has secretly made most of its cyber spying war code unclassified. The U.S. government is not able to assert copyright either, due to restrictions in the U.S. Constitution. This means that cyber arms manufacturers and computer hackers can freely pirate these weapons if they are obtained. The CIA has primarily had to rely on obfuscation to protect its malware secrets. Conventional weapons such as missiles may be fired at the enemy, i.e. into an unsecured area. Proximity to or impact with the target detonates the ordnance including its classified parts. Hence military personnel do not violate classification rules by firing ordnance with classified parts. Ordnance will likely explode. If it does not, that is not the operator's intent. Over the last decade, U.S. hacking operations have been increasingly dressed up in military jargon to tap into Department of Defense funding streams. For instance, attempted malware injections, commercial jargon, or implant drops, NSA jargon, are being called fires, as if the weapon was being fired. However, the analogy is questionable. Unlike bullets, bombs, or missiles, most CIA malware is designed to live for days or even years after it has reached its target. CIA malware does not explode on impact, but rather permanently infests its target. In order to infect target's device, copies of the malware must be placed on the target's devices, giving physical possession of the malware to the target. To exfiltrate data back to the CIA or to await further instructions, the malware must communicate with CIA Command and Control (C2) systems placed on Internet-connected servers. But such servers are typically not approved to hold classified information, so CIA Command and Control systems are also made unclassified. A successful attack on a target's computer system is more like a series of complex stock maneuvers in a hostile takeover bid, of the careful planting of rumors in order to gain control over an organization's leadership rather than the firing of a weapons system. If there is a military analogy to be made, the infestation of a target is perhaps akin to the execution of a whole series of military maneuvers against the target's territory, including observation, infiltration, occupation and exploitation, evading forensics, and antivirus. A series of standards lay out CIA malware infestation patterns which are likely to assist forensic crime scene investigators as well as Apple, Microsoft, Google, Samsung, Nokia, BlackBerry, Siemens and antivirus companies attribute and defend against attacks. Tradecraft Do's and Don'ts contains CIA rules on how its malware should be written to avoid fingerprints implicating the CIA, U.S. government, or its witting partner companies, in forensic review. Similar secret standards cover the use of encryption to hide CIA hacker and malware communication. PDF, describing targets and exfiltrated data, PDF, as well as executing payloads, PDF, and persisting, PDF, in the target's machines over time. CIA hackers developed successful attacks against most well-known antivirus programs. These are documented in AV defeats, personal security products, detecting and defeating PSPs and PSP, debugger, re-avoidance. For example, Comodo was defeated by CIA malware placing itself in the Windows recycle bin, while Comodo 6X has a gaping hole of doom. CIA hackers discussed what the NSA's equation group hackers did wrong and how the CIA's malware makers could avoid similar exposure. Examples: the CIA's Engineering Development Group EDG management system contains around 500 different projects, only some of which are documented by Year Zero, each with their own sub-projects, malware and hacker tools. The majority of these projects relate to tools that are used for penetration, infestation, implanting, control, and exfiltration. Another branch of development focuses on the development and operation of listening posts, LP, and command and control C2 systems used to communicate with and control CIA implants. Special projects are used to target specific hardware from routers to smart TVs. Some example projects are described below, but see the table of contents for the full list of projects described by Wikileaks. Year Zero. Umbrage. The CIA's handcrafted hacking techniques pose a problem for the agency. Each technique it has created forms a fingerprint that can be used by forensic investigators to attribute multiple different attacks to the same entity. This is analogous to finding the same distinctive knife wound on multiple separate murder victims. The unique wounding style creates suspicion that a single murderer is responsible. As soon one murder in the set is solved, and the other murders also find likely attribution. The CIA's Remote Devices Branch's Umbrage Group collects and maintains a substantial library of attack techniques, stolen from malware produced in other states, including the Russian Federation. With Umbrage and related projects, the CIA can not only increase its total number of attack types, but also misdirect attribution by leaving behind the fingerprints of the groups that the attack technique keys were stolen from. Umbrage components cover keyloggers, password collection, webcam capture, data destruction, persistence, privilege escalation, stealth, antivirus, PSP, avoidance and survey techniques. Fine dining. Fine dining comes with a standardized questionnaire i.e. menu that CIA case officers fill out. The questionnaire is used by the agency OSB, Operational Support Branch, to transform the requests of case officers into technical requirements for hacking attacks, typically exfiltrating information from computer systems for specific operations. The questionnaire allows the OSB to identify how to adapt existing tools for the operation, and communicate this to CIA malware configuration staff. The OSB functions as the interface between CIA operational staff and the relevant technical support staff. Among the list of possible targets of the collection are asset liaison, asset system administrator, foreign information operations, foreign intelligence agencies and foreign government entities. Notably absent is any reference to extremists or transnational criminals. The case officer is also asked to specify the environment of the target, like the type of computer, operating system used, internet connectivity and installed antivirus utilities, PSPs, as well as a list of file types to be exfiltrated, like Office documents, audio, video, images or custom file types. The menu also asks for information if recurring access to the target is possible and how long unobserved access to the computer can be maintained. This information is used by the CIA's JQJIMPROVISE software, see below, to configure a set of CIA malware suited to the specific needs of an operation. Improvise JQJIMPROVISE. Improvise is a tool set for configuration, post-processing, payload setup and execution, vector selection for survey, exfiltration tools supporting all major operating systems like Windows, Bartender, macOS, Jukebox, and Linux, dance floor. Its configuration utilities like Margarita allows the NOC, Network Operations Center, to customize tools based on requirements from fine dining questionnaires. Hive. Hive is a multi-platform CIA malware suite and its associated control software. The project provides customizable implants for Windows, Solaris, MikroTik, used in Internet routers, and Linux platforms, and a listening post LP, command and control, C2, infrastructure to communicate with these implants. The implants are configured to communicate via HTTPS with the web server of a covered domain. Each operation utilizing these implants has a separate cover domain, and the infrastructure can handle any number of cover domains. Each cover domain resolves to an IP address that is located at a commercial VPS, virtual private server, provider. The public-facing server forwards all incoming traffic via a VPN to a bot server that handles actual connection requests from clients. It is set up for optional SSL client authentication. If a client sends a valid client certificate, only implants can do that. The connection is forwarded to the honeycomb tool server that communicates with the implant if a valid certificate is missing, which is the case if someone tries to open the cover domain website by accident. The traffic is forwarded to a cover server that delivers an unsuspicious-looking website. The honeycomb tool server receives exfiltrated information from the implant. An operator can also task the implant to execute jobs on the target computer. So the tool server acts as a C2, command and control, server for the implant. Similar functionality, though limited to Windows, is provided by the Rick Bobby project. See the classified user and developer guides for Hive.